nobody on yet. Oh, there's Lexi. Hey, Lex. Turn it off one line at least. Lex,
Maybe shutting the.
so what kind of business planning has everybody done so far? There's been to the business planning classes? No? Oh, good.
To that one that was a few weeks ago.
With Steve Cap?
Yeah, that was very helpful.
Yeah.
But
Did you
I
like
need to
it?
go back and really, I think, especially because I've been enrolled, I need to readjust it because I know more information now than I did when I was.
Absolutely, yes. How about you?
Yes, I went to the MREA business clinic
Yeah.
last week.
How was that? I couldn't go that day, I was
It
mad.
was good. It was
What?
good. It was
Yeah.
really good.
Okay,
He said
good.
that speaker, I think his name was Kent or something.
Yeah, yeah, good. Yeah, I always like seeing outside people teaching
Mhm.
class too, you know, you get a
Yeah.
different, fresh
Yeah.
look at stuff, but.
Yeah.
Well, today we're just gonna look at the one little piece of the business plan, which is the economic model. We'll go over it again and then I'll show you how you can put your economic model into command and use it to track your business next year.
Okay.
So. So without a plan, are you just working as hard as you possibly can?
I mean, I have.
Is that the plan?
I just. Already know what the numbers have to be.
Okay, I don't mean to tease you, I just think when
Oh,
you
no.
don't have a business plan, or here's what happens to me,
I guess my
You're-
old one just need updating.
and keep on going on, yep. I find sometimes like I'll do my plan in the fall, and something in my business will change. Either I'll lose an agent on my team, or I'll get way ahead, or I'll fall behind, and I don't redo it. You know, I think every quarter you need to check in with it and say, okay, what's going on? Why am I not hitting, or why am I crushing it? Do I need to up my goal? Do I need to change because of some other factor? You know, you may have a year where you get sick and you need to bring it back a little bit, and focus on personal stuff. There's all kinds of reasons to change it up every once in a while. And so it's a living, breathing document that I usually boil down to one page that I keep folded in the front of my planner.
That's a good idea.
Just remind myself
I like
what the heck I'm doing. Because sometimes when it gets hectic, you can forget what the heck you're doing. Let's see. I'm looking for here, log in for demo account. So.
Is this on Zoom too?
It is on Zoom. I think Lexi's on.
Oh,
And Grace is on. Hey, Grace.
Hi,
Good to see you guys.
thank you.
MC 178. It is good to have the online option for certain days when you're too busy, but it's more fun to have all the bodies in the room. Right, so let me get in here. Yeah, people online probably can't see my flip chart though, right?
No, I can't see it yet.
So let's see, what do they see?
I can see your screen now, your command screen. Mhm.
You see my screen because I'm sharing screen, but I wonder, I'm gonna go on the Flipboard as well. So maybe if I unshare screen for a minute. And okay, so There's us right there. I don't know if I'm gonna be able to get a screen on for YouTube. I'm not sure how to do that. So I'll just try to use a lot of very good descriptive words. There you go. To do what I could at least try putting in.
Oop, that's too far away. That way.
Okay, you guys still see it? Yeah. Okay. Okay, so today we are talking about page 129 through 131 in MREA. And this is the model. It's basically an equation that says if you want to make this much money, here are the number of units you need to do. Okay. Before we even get to that, we need to not forget about taxes. So that's something I think that they don't do very often, is talk about that. People get themselves in a little bit of trouble. So, and the other thing that I think agents overlook or don't think about is why is your goal number your goal number? And so there's a worksheet, if you Google, it's called Life by Design. Have you guys worked through that before, or they're doing it in bold? Oh, okay, cool. So the Life by Design worksheet just makes you think about what your current living expenses are, what big purchases you may have coming up. Is there anything that you want to do for a charity? Think about all of that money that is in your life. How much you're going to put away towards retirement and savings and investments? Do you want a down payment for a house? All of those things come into play. But in general, if you look at a single person running a single agent business with moderate expenses and all of that kind of stuff, I think that we could agree that most of us need $60,000 to live on a year for rent or mortgage. So if you've got 60,000 in personal expense, and then let's say you want to put 30 into an IRA. Okay, you're saving for retirement. You can have a goal. Work with a financial planner to see what that should be, right? And maybe you want a $10,000 treat this year. A big vacation, gifts to a couple of kids in your life, whatever that is. Cool stuff is what I call it. My husband calls it variable expenses, of which he thinks there should be none. So we're a good team because I want to spend and he wants to miscellaneous. That's too funny.
I like cool stuff better.
I do too. Because we should have cool stuff in our life, right? Who was it that was speaking at either a team meeting or something recently that said to make sure and budget for treating yourself, especially after what we've been through for the last couple of years.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
So we can say that $100,000 would be a pretty good net for this person, right? I think this is good to work through too, because most teachers and coaches walk through it using the $1 million model, and we're not all shooting the net $1 million.
Right.
So I like to see it in a real life.
So you're saying 100K net prop, I mean, that's what you
That's
get
what
after,
that's the cash money I get in my hand.
after you go through the 60, 30, 10?
Nope, that's what the 60, 30, and 10 add up to.
Oh.
It's-
Oh, okay.
So I need $100,000 in my pocket to do some cool stuff, make some investments, and pay my bills.
Got it.
Okay, so we can't forget that we got to also pay taxes. So on this amount of money, we're talking about a 24% tax bracket ish. So I always have to write it out, the algebra. I don't know if you guys do. But 100,000 equals how much I make minus minus 24% of what I make, right? So 1 minus 0.24 is what? 0.9, 0.76. Does that make sense? So X, what I make, what does that come to? Calculatora. 31,579. That's what I got.
Okay, oh, sorry.
I was thinking something else in the numbers.
Okay, so to get $100,000 after I pay my taxes, I need my pre-tax number minus 0.24% of my pre-tax number. This is how much goes to the IRS.
Okay. So not necessarily 24% of 100,000.
Correct, not necessarily.
So
I want 100%, I want $100,000 after I pay my taxes.
24%. Got it.
So we're trying to find this number.
So you divide, so yeah, so you divide,
Oh, I got you.
so then you divide the 0.24.
So I divide 100,000 by 0.76.
It's 76.
Oh.
September.
You guys remember that algebra?
Okay.
Because that's a 1x and that's
Yeah.
0.24x. So 1 minus 0.24 is 0.76.
Okay.
So x divide 100,000. 0.76, you get 131,579.
Got it.
So if you'd set 100,000 as your goal, you'd be $32,000 short. That would be a bummer, right? Okay, so that's pre-tax. Okay, so then go to page 131. 131 is the figure that shows if I have this many listings and this many buyers at this price point, at this commission, la 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 la, that's how much I'm gonna make. Now, I like to look at it backwards. You've probably seen it written that way. It looks like this. You guys can turn this. Yeah, cool, cool. Okay, so this is the $1 million one. So it says to net $1 million after taxes. Actually, that's, yeah. That's the, you haven't paid taxes yet. You gotta think more than that, right?
Yes.
Okay, so, you've got your operating expenses, your cost of sale, your total GCI, commission, 350 units sold. Do you guys wanna sell 350 units next year?
Sure, but I don't, that's, I know that's not realistic.
I don't.
Life plan.
It's okay to say you don't.
Okay,
Okay.
I don't.
So let's think about what we do wanna do based on our real life 131,579, okay? So do you guys have one of these? Or have you seen one of these? You wanna make a copy real
Yeah,
quick?
yeah.
Yeah, make a couple real quick. Because we're gonna work through that. Yep. So we want our listen. We want our gross income to be 131,579. So let's do.
A lot of copies I have to go to.
Okay. So this is one. Either way. This is definitely a reasonable business plan.
Mhm.
It's totally doable. What numbers did you use when you worked through it before?
But without, but it was.
But without adjustment for the tax.
Yes, because they didn't do the tax thing in this.
Mhm. Mhm.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you what would happen then. Let's say you had done the $100,000 assumption without thinking about taxes. You're not gonna get much money into your investments, is what you're gonna skip.
Yeah.
Because you're not gonna skip your bills,
Mhm.
probably not gonna skip your school stuff, no.
Definitely not.
You're not gonna invest in your retirement, and then that's gonna compound over time. You're not gonna have enough money to live on when it's time. Now I'm a mess. So what are the percentages that they told you to use for expenses and cost of sale?
30%.
Okay. Very good. How are you guys out there online? You good?
Yes, thank you.
Okay, we're having a little coffee break. Hold, please. If you guys want a copy of the sheet that I'm working from, if you don't have one of these where you work it backwards, you can email me and I'll send you one.
So what was that, Carrie?
This is the economic model worksheet. If you've seen a copy of this, I'm not sure, or want it in this format. If you'd like a copy, just send me an email and I'll send you a copy.
I think I have
If you
got
want a
one,
blank copy,
but yeah,
you've probably got one.
yes, but
They use this a lot in most of the business planning.
Mhm.
I give up. Sorry.
That's okay.
Copier is not working and they couldn't get it on.
You guys
hand.
can hold that one, or actually
Okay.
you can have that one. You've got one.
You got
Yes.
some?
Yeah.
Yes.
You can have that one.
Sorry.
It's okay.
Right.
You're like, come on, I just want to make a copy.
Now it-
Okay, so we want to net 131,579. So we can pay our taxes, live on 60,000, invest 30,000, and have 10,000 in treats. So MREA says that our net income, which is another word for profit,
Mhm.
should be 40%
Mhm.
of our GCI. Okay. So if 131,579 is 40% of this, what is this? Can you do that math?
Yeah.
52. 52,639.
Mm-mm.
579. 40% of that.
I want this to be 40% of my answer.
So don't you? Right.
Oh, so you do. Wait, that's not.
So 328,000.
Should your GCI be more or less than your profit?
Because it's gross. You want
Gross is the most, that's the biggest number.
What number did you get?
328,947.
Yeah, 228.
Is that what you have?
No.
Don't you divide
That's not right.
40%?
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
Into
Yeah. Oh,
131,579?
yep, you got it.
So 328,947. Rounded up 948.
948. And then from there, what should our expenses on our cost of sale be? Percentages.
Percentages.
Oh, 30%.
And
Where are you getting that percentage?
30%. That's MREA assumption.
Oh, okay.
Okay, 30-30.
Okay.
So each of those are gonna be 98,684. There's a lot about this arrangement.
The expense and cost of sale, right, they need to be less.
They need to look less.
Yeah.
So here's where just having MREA can screw you up. Because based on, if you're making $1 million, it should be 40, 30, 30. If you're a single agent making 100,000, you can get away with way less than 30 and 30. So they've actually gone through and looked at a bunch of different levels of business in our world. And does this exist in MRE? I don't think it does.
Yeah, because I think some single agents are able to, the net income can be up to like 65%.
They're killing it, like 60, 65%. If you're running a sphere business that's really profitable, you can get that profit percent way higher than 40.
Okay.
So when they studied a bunch of agents all over the country, GCI of 150 is where they start tracking. They got 13% cost of sale, which is 19,500.
That's a lot better.
Barely more than your cap, because your cap is cost of sale.
Right.
Gross profits 87, expenses are 38, and net income is 49.
Okay.
So I think you could probably even do better than 49. But if we take that, if we use 49, which is conservative, I think you could do better. 13% cost of sale. And 38% expenses. That makes this 268. See, that's a lot less. It's a lot less deals. So I think it's important to make that adjustment. This is about 35. This is about 102. And then this is still going to be our 131. Because that's how much we need, right? Now, GCI number of 260. 268, 529. Yes. If you can read that when you go back to it.
Yeah, right.
Right. So 268, 529. What percentage of buyers and sellers do we want to do?
Personally, higher on the seller side.
That'd be nice, right?
Yeah, I know it's.
It's easier to keep it kind of split. So I wouldn't do anything besides 60-40 or 50-50.
Oh, okay.
Unless you have a business history that really shows that you can do a lot more.
So as a new agent, do you suggest just going 50-50?
I would. Yeah, because even if you run your business next year and you've got a lot of people in your sphere who are downsizing, or that's one of each, even then, so. So on our little worksheet, that's now B. Does it help from the label? So worksheet. Yep. So what's our gross income from each buyers and sellers? So maybe divide that 268, 529 by 2 for me. Just 65. That's 265. You'll see in a minute, that's not that important, because once we get down to units, we're gonna round all the way up to a whole unit, so. So this is C. Just do one side for now, because can you see that they're exactly the same? Okay. So what average commission would you like to plan for, not that you would like?
3%, right?
I'd like to get 3%, but this year I'm trending 3.8, I mean 2.8.
Really?
A lot of 2.5, 2.25.
There's some 2.5s and 2.25s on the buyer side. There's a lot of times I give my seller a break. They're buying with me anyways. I
Okay,
got the 2 deals, so I'm gonna say 2.8. Oh, just skip ahead, didn't I?
Carrie, how do you just pull all your cases together with the commissions and just, how do you get that figure?
This one, the 268.
Your average commission, yeah.
Oh, average commission. You could look at what you did this year, or you
Mhm.
can just make an assumption.
Okay, all right.
You could use 3%, but then you're gonna probably
Yeah, I'm
get
getting
some
quite,
deals.
I'm getting 2.5, so I'm quite a lot, 2.5.
Trying to use 2.5 in there. When you're making these, we're gonna make a few assumptions here along the way. And when you make these assumptions, it's probably better to be conservative and assume that you're gonna do worse than you will. So I could set a goal to get 3% all year long, even if it means I have to charge some 3.2s or whatever it means. But I'm gonna go ahead and just assume that I'm gonna have at least a couple deals that bring my average down. And then as you've been in the business for a while, you'll start to see trends and you can adjust that to be more realistic. But I'd rather put 2.25 in here and be surprised than count on getting 3 every time, right?
Yes, thank you.
Yep, so I've got C, which is how much money I want to make from buyers or sellers. This is the buyer side. And then I've got an average commission. So if I take C and divide it by D, I'll get my volume that I need to sell. So what's 134, 265 divided by 0.028? 134, 265 divided by 0.028. Should be a big number.
4 million. Oh, okay.
4.48 million. So that's volume. That's all the purchase prices added up for the whole year. Okay. So this is F is also going to be an assumption. What's our average price point? 250. That's exactly what I used. Our office's average is up to like 425. Citywide average is about 350. So we're going to take volume and we're going to divide it by average price, and we'll get how many units we need to do. So that's 480. I have 350. And you sell 12.58 houses?
This is 13.
That's right. Okay, so every buyer that you get a buyer brokerage with, do you close? No. All right, H. So H is the number of buyer brokers. Or on this side, it would be number listed. Actually, that's I, isn't it? days. Yeah, sorry. H is an assumption. So how many workers close? What percent would you say?
65.
Pretty low. Were they using the 65 and 85 in the class?
Yes.
So they'll do, and they do it backwards for listings than they do for buyers, don't they?
They actually said it was 60 and it went to 65 this year, so it's a little bit higher.
It's a little bit higher. So I've seen 65 here. I've seen, and then down here you get 85. And then over here, it's 85 and 65. And that depends on the market, because in 2010, I promised you that I did not sell 65% of the houses I listed. It was only a third. Personally, I did better than that, but market wide, which is the stats we probably want to use. Lately, I've been seeing people use all 4 of those 0.75s. Right? So I list 75% of the appointments I go on, 75% of those sell. Okay, so these are assumptions we're making based on our experience in the market. We can make whatever choices there we want to do, then you track it. So you know if you're actually trending what you think. So let's do this 65. So 13 divided by 0.65. That's good. And I can make sure you're doing that. Lower. It's
Hi, is anyone still there? I reconnected, but nothing's happening.
Okay. So here is the goals main page. And so most of you should say, it looks like your goals are not yet set for 2021, correct? That is correct. So you can click on set them now. Oh yeah, 2022. Pretty sure I can change it on the first page. So if I say get started. Yeah, it went ahead and did. So that text is just wrong because this has for next year, 2022. Okay. So it already has you set up here to net profit $1 million, which we've already talked about, none of us want to do next year. Maybe one day, but let's go with our plan of netting 131,579.
Do you have nom.com?
Thank you. That's probably it. Tell me what. Okay, hold on. 131, 580. Boom. So it went ahead and automatically calculated 30 and 30%. Wow. Cool. But like we said, we don't really want to use 30% for this because we don't have an assistant at this point, right? So we don't have, that's what drives expenses up. And we don't have a buyer's agent, which is what drives cost of sales up. So we're going to do expenses of 102. Cost of sales. We said 34. Gives you a little budget for like a referral fee. Where did I mess up? Because we should sell. Yeah. Thank you. Cost of sales. We said it was 34, not 340. That's what blew it up. 34,900. Great. No. 34,090.
Oh, 90.
Yep. It's actually 34,908, but I'm not going to monkey with it anymore because it's close to right. Okay, so annual profit goal is 131,580. Monthly profit goal is 10,965. Here we've got 50 buyers and 50 listings. Average commission 71.50 each. We can change that if we want. Should we put 9,000 in there?
Where do you?
Right here. This is my average commission. 9,000 on listings. So what happens if we do 10,000 on buyers? Because maybe a lot of my people are move ups. I'm not going to do any leases. I can adjust the 50-50 here to be 40, 60, 60, 40, whatever. Okay, and then I'm going to click next. All right, here is where you put your conversions in. I would recommend just leaving it alone. So they add a couple more steps. They've got lead contact, which is basically if you're doing a lot of heavy lead generation, like for Facebook or Zillow or something like that. They're saying that 5% of your leads you're going to make contact with. All those answering machines, all those people not picking up, you're only going to get voice-to-voice contact with 5%. Then once they're in contact that you've communicated with, you're only going to make 5% of those appointments. The ones that I care about, because once we've got, if you're running a Sphere business, everybody you put in your database is a contact already. So you don't have to worry so much about that lead to contact. And so contact to appointment set to appointment kept is 75%. Appointment kept to an agreement is 75%. Agreement to to pending 75%, and then pending to closed 75%. I might up this last one if any of them. But I feel like it might be smart to just leave them where they are and then see what happens next year, right? Because that's gonna generally reflect an average business. All right, so I'm gonna save and continue that. And so there are your goals. Okay, so once you've got this set up, I'm gonna click what's next, and it's gonna save this whole thing for you. Now, every time you set an appointment, you need to make sure in that opportunity that you put the date that you set the appointment, the date you go on the appointment, the date you sign the listing, and the date it closes. All of those dates need to be done in the drop down for this system to say, oh, you got an appointment, there's one. Oh, you got a lead, there's one. So all of these things that they're counting, you just want to make sure you document when that happened. And that's in the opportunity is where that is. Well, yeah, in order to turn the deal into the office, you don't have to enter any of those dates. And so it's super easy to be lazy and be like, oh yeah, of course I went on the appointment, but I'm not gonna put that in there.
Yeah.
But if you want to start using this tool, start adding the dates, and that'll make your numbers more accurate of what's happening in your business. So I'm excited to start using, I'm gonna use this for 2022. And
I love the way that it just
See how it goes,
automates
yeah.
all of this stuff too. That's great.
exactly.
And can you go in here, like, for instance, I just did this alongside you. If I want to go in and adjust, I can go in there and adjust it at
Sure
any
can.
time, right?
Yep, so I'm gonna go back to the goals page.
Did you hit what's next? Is that how you got to that?
Yep.
Okay.
What's nice, and it just closed it. I said, what do you want to do next? And I said, I want to go look at my goals. Shoot, it's thinking a lot.
Yeah, I'm just thinking, I mean, I can get back to my home page. Oh, I see.
Oh, and this is also showing this year, so I want to say next year. Yep. Sweet. Okay. So if I'm this is what I don't like, is it makes an assumption that you're doing a lead generation. We are doing a lead generation business. It makes the assumption that you're doing a high volume lead business instead of a warmer lead business. Because you don't need 20,000 leads in your database to close this amount of business.
So, like, I didn't get to that when I would.
Go to goals.
Oh, goal.
Your 2021 goals now, so I'm gonna pull down to 2022. So where I start tracking is appointments set. I do need to go on to appointments, because remember we said one a week. It exactly matches what we calculated.
Yeah.
So I just ignore these first two. And I will get this appointment set 51. So right now I've gone on 0% of those because we just set it up. And then my appointments kept, I want 38 of those, 28 agreements, 22 under contract, 16 closed.
Nice.
Nice. So you can show this year, or you can look at this month. For this month, I don't need 26 appointments a month, do I? No. That doesn't make any sense. So I only need 50 appointments all year. Maybe that shows that I'm behind. They have not added an expense tracker yet, but I keep hearing that they're going to, and that would be awesome, because then it would show your actual profit.
What is that up there where it says, you know, on track, on watch, on alert? I'm assuming on alert means you're not hitting it.
Yeah,
Oh, sure.
you're 79% and below being on track.
Ah, okay. Let's see.
On track means you've got at least 90%, 92% of your goal. Or where you should be on your goal based on the year, right? This one, once you start using it down in the bottom left, activities breakdown, I like this because it actually, if you log your calls and emails and stuff in your contacts, it'll show like you've made 100 calls. And you're like, yes.
Okay.
So as long as you enter the call in the contact, it'll count it and keep track of that for you.
Can you just, I know that that's not what this class is, but when you say track the calls, because where is it that you do that in command, that you track the call?
Sure. Go
I
to
think I know what I just wanna see.
contacts. We'll see if it goes back. I really liked before they had, so you're gonna add an activity. You're gonna say call.
Okay, so this is where it's grabbing it from.
And then your notes and all that kind of stuff, and then save.
Got it. So basically, any time you're touching anyone in your database, you gotta remember to actually note it in there.
That's right.
And I haven't been doing that, I mean,
Yeah.
sporadically, but not,
You know what I like to do is I write it on a piece of paper and then I sit down once a day and do it
yeah,
instead of after every call, because that feels kind of cumbersome.
yeah,
I like printed call lists and then I do check marks. And then I go back in at the end of the day or at the beginning of the next day and spend 20 minutes updating all at once. They used to, which I kind of wish they would add it back. That you checked whether it was, so if you could put something on there that was just like, add their birthday. And you're not contacting them, that doesn't count really until it's their birthday.
right.
So that would be a non-lead gen task, but if it was a call or I sent a handwritten note or any of those things, you could check the little box and then it tallied up all your touches. So I want them to have that. But that, these calls will show up as your activity's done. Cool. So these reports will be really cool as you use them, and they're going to get smarter and smarter and smarter. And it's going to tell you next time you plan, you've converted this %. So you can use your actual number in these calculations versus kind of a general. And it's also going to be compiling all of our data together to see, how the nation is doing and better assumptions. So that is how you're going to do your economic model next year. Cool. Cool.
I'm glad that it does all that. I mean, stuff.
Yeah, I mean, it takes a little more diligent record keeping, but in the end, I think it's worth it when you get the data you get from it. I think our internet lost all our peeps from